Okay, so get this. We're diving deep today into hidden codes.
Hidden codes.
In the Bible,
Yeah.
you heard me right, hidden codes. Specifically, we're looking at the Old Testament. You know, the Hebrew Bible.
Tanakh.
Exactly, the Tanakh. We've got some excerpts here from Roy A. Reinhold's work, and let me tell you, it gets a little wild.
Well, it's intriguing because we're not just talking about, some theory that someone came up with, on the internet.
Right.
Reinhold points to some actual research, some pretty compelling research that there might be more to the Bible than meets the eye.
It's like one of those 3D pictures, you look at it one way and it's just like a normal image.
Right.
But then you tilt it just right and bam, a whole other image appears.
That's a great analogy.
Like it was hidden there all along, right?
Yeah, the idea is that there are these messages encoded in the text through these things called equidistant letter sequences.
Equidistant letter sequences.
Or ELS for short.
Okay, ELS, got it. So imagine the Hebrew text as like a tapestry with all these threads running through it.
Okay, I can see that. And by following specific threads, you can see images and patterns emerge that wouldn't be visible otherwise.
And these patterns are like what?
Names, dates, descriptions of events.
No way. So how does that actually work? Like, are we just skipping over random letters until we find something that fits?
No, it's much more complex than that.
Okay.
There was this guy, Dr. Eliyahu Rips.
Dr. Eliyahu Rips?
And his team over in Israel.
Okay.
They developed a very sophisticated mathematical approach to this.
So we're not talking about just some,
Oh, right. He's a respected mathematician.
Right.
Not some fringe theorist. And their research was even published in a peer-reviewed journal.
Wow. Okay. Which journal was that?
The Statistical Science Journal.
Statistical Science Journal.
They took a very scientific approach to it, applied rigorous statistical analysis to the text.
So they weren't just, like I said, cherry-picking letters to make things fit.
No.
What kind of tests did they do?
Well, one of their most famous experiments involved the names of 66 prominent rabbis from Jewish history.
66 rabbis.
They took these names and they searched for them in the book of Genesis.
Okay.
Using this ELS method. And not only did they find the names, but they found their birth and death dates and even the cities they were known for all clustered together.
What are the odds?
The odds against that happening randomly are astronomical.
Astronomical.
Over 10 million to 1.
10 million to 1.
That's what made their findings so compelling. It pointed to a level of complexity and intentionality that just couldn't be easily dismissed.
So we're not just talking about some random words scattered throughout the text. We're talking about specific details, names, dates, all woven together in a meaningful way.
Right.
But if these codes can pinpoint figures from the past, could they also hold clues about the future?
That's a question that has captivated people for centuries.
I bet.
Michael Drosnin's book, The Bible Code, brought this concept to the public eye and presented some pretty startling examples.
The Bible Code, okay.
And keep in mind, Drosnin wasn't even a religious person. He was a journalist who kind of stumbled upon this phenomenon.
Interesting.
Which I think adds another layer of objectivity to the findings.
Okay, so what kind of predictions are we talking about? Give us the highlights.
Well, one that really stands out is the term World War, found alongside the Hebrew year 5766.
It's a 766, and what year is that for us?
Which corresponds to 2005-2006 in our calendar.
Hold on, wait a minute. That's right around the time the global financial crisis hit.
Yeah.
And we saw, all those conflicts escalating in the Middle East.
Yeah, it does make you wonder.
It really does make you wonder if there's something to these codes.
It certainly raises some eyebrows.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop there. They also found terms like atomic holocaust and great earthquake.
Again linked to the year?
Again linked to the year 576.
5766. Okay, yeah. That's a little intense.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to be careful here, right? Interpreting these codes.
Of course.
Can't be an exact science.
Right.
There's always a chance for, human error or misinterpretations.
Absolutely. Reinhold himself is very cautious in his approach, emphasizing that we need to avoid jumping to conclusions. But if even some of these predictions have any validity, it opens up a whole can of worms.
It really does. So what are we saying here? Is the Bible code trying to tell us something specific about the future, or is it just a bunch of coincidences?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And while the specificity of these predictions is intriguing, the real value of the Bible code might lie in revealing broader historical patterns and prompting us to consider the interconnectedness of events in a new light.
You're making me rethink how I view the Bible.
Good.
We've covered a lot of ground already, but I'm sure there's more to unpack.
Oh, there's much more.
Okay.
We've only just scratched the surface. Let's delve into some more specific examples of historical figures and events that Drosnin and the researchers connected to the Bible code.
Let's do it. I'm ready for more. All right, so we're back, and I'm still kind of reeling from all this talk about world wars and global events hidden in these codes.
It's a lot to take in, but before we get too caught up in the future, let's take a closer look at how these codes connect to past events. You know, Drosnin and other researchers have uncovered some fascinating links to historical figures.
Okay, like what?
Well, one of the most striking examples involves Adolf Hitler.
Hitler?
Yeah, they found his name in the code alongside terms like evil man, Nazi, and enemy, and slaughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, considering the horrors he unleashed, those terms are a chillingly accurate description.
It is pretty eerie how these terms align with Hitler's legacy.
Yeah.
And it goes even deeper than that. They also found the name Eichmann, the Nazi official responsible for orchestrating the Holocaust,
Right.
next to words like the ovens and extermination.
Like the Bible code is painting a picture, albeit a dark one,
Yeah.
of this horrific period in history.
It's definitely thought-provoking, and they even found references to the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy,
No way.
including details like the assassins' names and the dates of the tragedies.
It's like somebody took a history book, scrambled all the key events, and then hid them within this ancient text.
It is fascinating, isn't it?
But why would these messages be hidden in the first place? Like, what's the purpose?
Well, that's a question that scholars and theologians have been grappling with for a long time. Some believe it's a way for God to authenticate the scriptures, to leave a divine signature.
Like a cosmic watermark, only visible to those who know how to look for it.
Exactly. Others suggest that maybe these codes offer a form of guidance or warning throughout history. Maybe they're there to help us recognize patterns and connections we might otherwise miss.
So it's not about predicting the future in like a fixed sense.
Right.
But more about glimpsing potential outcome.
I like that.
Like a roadmap with multiple possible routes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you mention it, if these codes exist in the Hebrew Bible,
Right.
could they also be present in the Greek New Testament?
That's the question Reinhold raises.
It makes sense, like, if they're in one part of the Bible, why not other parts, right? Think about the possibilities we could potentially use this ELS method to unravel some of the long-standing mysteries of the New Testament.
It's exciting to think about.
It is.
Like, imagine using ELS to finally uncover the identity of the restrainer in 2 Thessalonians.
Right.
Or delve deeper into the nature of the 2 witnesses in Revelation.
We could even explore the authenticity of debated passages like the ending of Mark's Gospel.
Exactly.
But hold on, let's be realistic here.
Okay.
If we go into the New Testament with this code-breaking mindset, aren't we in danger of finding whatever we want to find?
You raise a valid point.
Like, couldn't confirmation bias play a role?
Absolutely. It's crucial to approach this with intellectual honesty and rigor. We can't just pick and choose data that fits our existing beliefs.
Right, so how do we navigate this responsibly? How do we separate the genuine insights from wishful thinking?
Well, collaboration and open-mindedness are key. We need experts from various fields, theologians, linguists, mathematicians, historians, all working together to analyze the data and interpret the findings.
It sounds like we need a whole new field of study, like biblical cryptography.
Maybe we do, but remember, the goal shouldn't be to find definitive answers or to turn the Bible into some kind of fortune-telling device.
So what is the point then?
Well, for me, the true value lies in the potential to deepen our understanding of the scriptures. It's like embarking on a treasure hunt through the ancient text, searching for hidden gems of wisdom and insight.
I love that image.
Yeah.
But as we delve deeper into this world, we inevitably bump into that age-old question of, free will versus predetermination.
Right.
If these codes hold true, how do we reconcile those two concepts? So we're back. And yeah, this whole idea of free will versus predetermination, it's a big one.
It is, isn't it? I mean, if these events are really encoded in the Bible,
Right.
does that mean our lives are already laid out? Where does choice come in?
Yeah, if it's all pre-written, then what's the point of, even trying to make decisions?
It's a question that has puzzled theologians and philosophers for centuries. Reinhold offers an interesting perspective on this, though. He suggests that God, being outside of time, can see the whole picture of history.
The whole picture.
Yeah, he sees all the possibilities, all the outcomes.
So it's kind of like those choose-your-own-adventure books.
Exactly.
Where you get to make choices, but God has already read all the endings.
That's a great analogy. Free will still exists.
Okay.
But God, from his unique vantage point, sees the paths we choose and the consequences that follow.
Okay, so it's not like we're just puppets on strings.
Right.
We have real agency.
Exactly.
But if that's the case, why hide this information in the first place? Like, What's the point of encoding these messages?
Well, some believe it's God's way of confirming his authorship of the Bible. It's like a divine signature hidden within the text.
A signature that's only visible to those who know how to look for it.
Precisely.
That's pretty amazing.
Others suggest that maybe these codes are like a warning system throughout history, alerting us to potential dangers or guiding us toward a more righteous path.
So it's like God left us a trail of breadcrumbs to follow.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then there's the possibility that these codes are meant to spark our curiosity and encourage us to explore the scriptures on a deeper level.
It's like solving a cosmic puzzle.
Right.
Every piece we uncover reveals a new layer of meaning and understanding.
Exactly. And who knows what other secrets are hidden within those ancient texts.
It's exciting to think about.
As we continue to explore this world of biblical codes, we might find ourselves looking at faith history, even the universe, in a whole new way.
We've really covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From the scientific analysis of these codes to the philosophical questions they raise, it's been quite a journey.
It has. And as with any deep dive, we've only scratched the surface.
That's true. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It sparks more questions than it answers.
Right.
And it encourages us to keep exploring.
Just keep searching.
So for all of you listening out there, what are your thoughts? What stood out to you the most in this deep dive? What's swirling around in your mind right now?
I mean, if these codes are real, and that's a big if, their existence changes how we understand the Bible and its purpose, Are they a divine signature, a warning system, a roadmap through history, or something else entirely?
That's for you to decide. We encourage you to keep exploring this topic, do your own research, and draw your own conclusions. As for us, we'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating new subject. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.